Assalamu alaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our headlines for tonight. China and France agrees to exclude nuclear weapons from the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Plus, international community urged not to worsen the already bad situation between the two countries. And a holistic approach critically needed to address corruption nationwide in Malaysia. You're now with me, Muhammad Yusuf, and this is TVS Nightline. Amidst the Ukraine-Russia war, China and France have agreed that the usage of nuclear weapons should be excluded from the conflict. During a joint media conference in Beijing with China's President Xi Jinping, French President Emmanuel Macron said it is impossible to re-establish Europe's security architecture as long as Ukraine is occupied.
France shared the will to make sure that nuclear weapon is excluded from this conflict. International treaties should be respected. In no way can nuclear weapons be deployed outside of endowed states, especially in Europe. In this respect, everyone must be reminded of their duties, especially Russia, which announced a few days ago it wanted to deploy nuclear weapons in Belarus. This is inconsistent with our commitments and international law.
Macron also seeks to preserve and rebalance the trade ties between China and Europe since the conflict erupted, and that it would proactively continue to have a commercial relationship with China. At the same time, Macron said China has a major role to play so that Russia and Ukraine can achieve peace as it has close relationship with Russia.
These are worrying times. Tragedy made its way back into history. Our duty is not to give in to any easy ways and to take our responsibilities in the face of today's conflict. We need to know how to build a just peace and avoid any escalation. I know you share these beliefs, and this is the way France wants to go.
Now, President of China Xi Jinping urges the international community to not further escalate the tensions between Ukraine and Russia, indicating that China is willing to join the call for no nuclear weapons to be used.
中方坚持劝和促谈。
Regarding the Ukrainian crisis, China advocates for peace talks and seeks a political solution. China is willing to join the French side in calling on the international community to maintain a rational restraint and avoid taking actions that will further aggravate the crisis or even get out of control.
Xi also stated that China has always regarded Europe as an independent entity in a multipolar world, and that it will support Europe in achieving strategic autonomy as long as Europe is not restrained by a third party.
China and France should continue to support the multipolarization of the world and the democratization of international relations, opposed to the Cold War mentality and confrontation, and work together to deal with various global challenges.
Aside from peace talks for Ukraine and Russia, Macron and Xi also witnessed the signing of several cooperative deals in various energy fields, notably nuclear and wind energy. The signing will allow collaboration between French's Électricité de France, or EDF, and China General Nuclear Power Group, CGN, which are both major operators of nuclear plants, as well as between EDF and China Energy Investment Corporation for offshore wind. Now, back in Sarawak, corruption is a critical issue that needs to be dealt with systematically and holistically, as it has caused tremendous losses to Sarawak and the nation as a whole. This was stressed by the Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development, Datuk Roland Sagawi In, who said that the abhorrent practice will result in inflated costs for development programs to be implemented by the government.
It is very important to maintain integrity in managing Sarawak's resources and wealth. Once the foundation of integrity is already there, I believe it will improve the ease of doing business and increase confidence of investors and ensuring Sarawak's position as an investment destination of choice for foreign investors. And this requires the cooperation at all levels and groups in society to maintain integrity, to achieve our mission to become the richest state in Malaysia.
Commenting further, Roland, who is also Tarat Assemblyman, said civil servants are most susceptible to corruption, especially those involved in decision-making and government procurement. Hence, he hopes that integrity units in government agencies and certified integrity officers play bigger roles in fostering the culture of integrity, whether it be in government agencies or the community.
Marilah kita sama-sama memainkan peranan masing-masing secara lebih objektif, konstruktif, dan profesional demi meningkatkan mutu perkhidmatan awam. So ini adalah pesanan kepada kita sebagai pejabat awam dan juga kepada rakyat keseluruhan. Penerapan budaya dan nilai-nilai murni perlu dipupuk secara holistik, yaitu menyeluruh.
He said this when met by reporters after officiating the Syrian Division Integrity Tour earlier today. About 300 participants comprising community leaders, village chiefs, village security and development committee members, civil servants and councillors attended the program organized by the Integrity Unit and Ombudsman Sarawak Unions, Sarawak Premier's Department in collaboration with Syrian Division Administrative Office. Syrian is the program's 7th location after Kuching, Lundu, Bau, Balingian, Muka and Siburan. A more modern and holistic waste management system should also be set up and implemented in rural areas in Sarawak. Deputy Premier Dato' Ahmad Douglas Ugamba said that the archaic method of landfills could affect the environment and the rural towns and villages in the long run. Uga said that the current waste management system is to send waste to the landfills, which he deemed to be outdated. Thus, he said it is high time for the councils to adopt a more modern technology in waste disposal systems. He added with proper facilities in place, it can even be shared between neighboring councils. He added that there are still villages and longhouses where council waste collection service is still not available, with some still resorting to disposing of their waste in the river without much consideration for the environment. On the same note, Uga also called on the Ministry of Local Government and Housing to allocate more funds for waste management in rural areas. Now, tribal chiefs, community leaders and community heads were urged to be vigilant in assuring that development projects implemented go smoothly and without issues for the benefit of the people. Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development, Dato' Roland Sagahui addressed the importance of monitoring development projects and reporting any delays or deviations from the approved specifications.
Sekiranya tuan ataupun puan mesyaki projek dilaksanakan agak lembat atau tidak mengikuti spesifikasi yang telah diluluskan, adalah menjadi tanggungjawab tuan-tuan dan puan untuk melaporkan perkara tersebut kepada agensi berkaitan, dan jika rasa terdapat something wrong dalam projek yang sedang dilaksanakan, maka lapor saja. Jangan komplain, lapor.
Roland Saga strongly encouraged the people to report the matter involving misconduct to ensure that projects are completed on schedule and in accordance with the promised infrastructure and facilities. He noted that the reporting process is not limited to development projects alone, but also extends to criminal issues such as drug sales in village areas and the presence of foreigners without permission. As such, he suggested that the Ombudsman is an excellent alternative channel to voice concerns about the delivery of public services if the related agencies cannot provide a good solution to complaints or do not act on the complaints made.
The symbolic packaging ceremony of Sumbangsih Raya 2023 was held to show the government's appreciation and thanks to all security and enforcement personnel who will be on duty during the upcoming Aidilfitri celebration. Minister of Women, Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development, Datuk Sri Fatimah Abdullah said this year's Sumbangsih packages were prepared by several participating agencies.
Aktiviti hari ini adalah menyiapkan pembungkusan Sumbangsih Raya. Target kita 12,000 yang telah dibungkus selama 3 hari yang lalu adalah 7,900. Jadi hari ini tinggal 4,100. Dan saya percaya semangat oleh kerana semangat kerjasama yang sangat bagus antara agensi-agensi dan kementerian, ianya akan dapat selesai hari ini juga.
She added that an official symbolic handing over ceremony will also be held, to be officiated by the Premier Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg.
Dan pada 14 hari bulan April ini, jadi ada majlis rasmi yang akan diadakan di mana Yang Amat Berhormat Premier akan menyampaikan secara simbolik kepada pengarah setiap agensi itu pada 14 hari bulan. Dan di pihak kami pula, kami akan menyusul selepas selesai penyerahan secara simbolik oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Premier. Jadi pasukan kami akan ziarah kepada semua agensi-agensi tersebut. Bagi kami, ini penting sebab there's a personal touch involved, a personal touch melalui ziarah tersebut. Bukan setakat menyampai saja, kita juga dapat mengeratkan silaturahim. Dan kami tahu bahawa untuk kementerian kami, kerjasama yang strategik ini kerjasama bersama dengan rakan-rakan strategik kami ini sangat penting dalam memastikan bahawa di dalam sesebuah komuniti kita itu ada wujudnya keamanan, ketenteraman, kesejahteraan.
She said this when officiating the symbolic packaging ceremony of Sumbangsih Raya 2023 that was attended by all heads and representatives of recipient agencies at the main hall of Wisma Wanita Jalan Sultan Tengah, Kuching today. This year, the Sarawak government, through the Sarawak Women and Family Department, has identified 11 recipient agencies comprising security and enforcement agencies that will be on duty during the Aidilfitri celebrations. They include the Malaysian Armed Forces, the Royal Malaysia Police Force, the Fire and Rescue Department, and other agencies. For the record, Sumbangsih Raya is a state government initiative that has been an annual practice since introduced in 1990.
Now, a 10-year-old deaf girl who suffers from hearing loss received her Aidilfitri joy just now. Nur Shakira Muhammad Suhaimi received a hearing aid worth 3,900 ringgit and was among the 150 recipients from Samarahan Division for the Sarawak Welfare Department's Sejambak Kasih Hari Raya Aidilfitri 2023.
Sadong Jaya Assemblyman Aidil Lariwu said the recipients attending the program today are among those 2,375 receiving the aids, totaling 237,500 ringgit.
Untuk makluman, ada kalau di bahagian Samarahan tu ada ditulisnya tu 2,375 orang penerima bantuan bagi yang menerima sumbangan Hari Raya Aidilfitri itu, yang mana jumlah semuanya yang disediakan oleh Tidak Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat itu sebanyak 237,500 ringgit, yang mana yang saya dapat hadiah, saya ingat ia akan di bantuan dia ataupun duit dia akan dikreditkan ke akaun Sidak Yapun.
He said this at Sejambak Kasih Hari Raya ceremony held at Dewan Warisan Sadong Jaya on Thursday. According to Aidil, who is also Deputy Minister of Infrastructure and Port Development, the objective of the program is to bring joy to the recipients in conjunction with the upcoming Hari Raya, as well as to increase the quality of life of the poor and needy folks.
Now, among the many stunning handicrafts on display during the National Craft Day, or HKK 2023 in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday, April 6, were some of Sarawak's finest handmade products, including the exquisite puak kumbu, slampai, biri cloth, rattan mat, and beaded jewelry. The exhibition proved to be a fruitful venture for the local artisans, with estimated earnings of 49,000 ringgit through their sales during the 12-day event.
The Handicraft Enhancement Program, a Sarawak Energy initiative, provided 6 artisans from the local communities of Murum, Bakun and Baleh with the training and support needed to enhance their traditional craft-making techniques. Di Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria, the Prime Minister's wife Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail, and Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture Datuk Sri Tiong King Singh graced the event with their presence, highlighting the support for the initiative. The initiative offers local artisans an opportunity to showcase and sell their wares to a broader customer base, resulting in modern and fashionable product with expanded product lines. The event, which featured 380 local craft entrepreneurs and communities representing diverse cultures across Malaysia.
Coming up right after the break, over 5,000 Myanmar citizens flees to Thailand seeking refuge. And is MRT effective in addressing road congestion in Kuala Lumpur? All that and more right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim today urged the United Nations Security Council, or UNSC, to hold the Israeli regime accountable and responsible for the raid against Palestinians at the Al-Aqsa Masjid on Wednesday, which injured at least 7 people. Calling the attack as heinous crime, Anwar also urged them to release all detainees arrested during the raid immediately.
Anwar stressed that the international community must demand the Israeli regime to immediately stop any provocative acts in the interest of peace and stability, adding that Malaysia continues to stand in solidarity with the people of Palestine. On Wednesday, the Israeli forces stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque complex in occupied East Jerusalem for the 2nd night in a row and assaulted Palestinian worshippers at the site. According to media reports, Israeli forces raided the Al-Qibli prayer hall in the Al-Aqsa Mosque after the Tarawih prayers, fired stun grenades, beat Palestinian worshippers, and detained around 350 of them. According to the Commission for Palestine Prisoners' Affairs, Israeli police began to release the detainees on the condition that they be removed from Al-Aqsa Mosque and Jerusalem's Old City for a week. Israel occupied East Jerusalem, where Al-Aqsa is located, during the 1967 Arab-Israeli War. It annexed the entire city in 1980 in a move never recognized by the international community.
Now, there will be more routes and flights to Sabah and Sarawak in conjunction with the Aidilfitri celebration. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said a whole slew of extra flights have been approved, including Malaysia Airlines, that will utilize larger planes to meet demands.
The Malaysian Aviation Commission, MAVCOM, has informed the Ministry of Transport in a recent meeting that they have approved the increase in the number of flights. He said this in a media conference after launching the Express Rail Link Sendirian Berhad ERL Renewable Energy Program at the Salak Tinggi ERL Depot on Thursday. Loke also shared that the implementation of fixed prices for flights will be on the horizon.
Maka capacity penerbangan akan tambah, kapasiti tempat duduk akan bertambah. Jadi apabila kapasiti bertambah, sudah tentu harga average itu akan menurun. Jadi itu pendekatan yang kita guna pakai.
He added he will announce the details of the capacity increase very soon.
Now, it is still too early to assess the effectiveness of the Putrajaya Mass Transit or MRT service in reducing the issue of road congestion. Minister of Transport Anthony Locke said road congestion during peak hours is still the same and critically on the MEX Highway, the Federal Highway and the Kuala Lumpur Sungai Besi Highway.
Setiap hari di waktu puncak semasa pagi dan petang masih berlaku kesesakan yang teruk. Jadi saya tak nak mengatakan bahawa MRT itu sudah berjaya mengurangkan kesesakan. Dia belum lagi sebab dia masih di peringkat awal. Jadi kita mengharapkan bahawa mengambil sedikit masa untuk build up ridership dan memang dalam semua perkhidmatan rail ini adalah perkara biasa.
He was mad after launching the Express Rail Link Sendirian Berhad ERL Renewable Energy Program in Salat Tinggi on Thursday. The MRT on the Putrajaya route was launched by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and began operating fully on March 16 with a target of 200,000 passengers daily capacity compared to about 80,000 at present. According to Locke, the number of passengers recorded during the first 2 weeks when it was operating for free was 100,000 per day.
Welcome back now onto some international affairs. Conflict between Myanmar military and armed ethnic rebels has forced about 5,000 people to flee across the country's border into Thailand this week. According to officials and media, this latest clash erupted when rebels in the southern Karen state attacked a military border guard outpost.
Myanmar's military government, which seized power in coup last year, is facing armed insurgencies in many parts of the country, and the military's response to these conflicts has led to widespread condemnation from the international community. Refugees, including women and children, are now taking shelter in temporary accommodations set up by the local residents in Thailand's Tak province. According to aid workers, the majority lack basic necessities like drinking water and sanitation facilities. The Thai government has said its air force is closely monitoring the situation and is ready to send patrol flights if Thai airspace is violated. The provincial government has also issued a statement affirming its commitment to providing safety and humanitarian assistance to those who have fled the fighting in Myanmar.
On to our last news for tonight. Losing a pet can be an incredibly difficult experience for many people, and grieving pet owners often experience a range of emotions and challenges as they process their loss. But for Filipino pet maker David Tan, the way to cope after losing a beloved pet golden retriever was by making a plushie of it.
So the way this whole idea of clones came about is that I used to have this golden retriever. I loved her dearly, and she passed away in 2019. Now, since I was doing plush toys at the time, I asked my pattern maker, hey, as a way of remembering my, my beloved pet, can you try making a realistic clone of her?
The 48-year-old has helped thousands of other animal lovers cope with the grief by offering to create realistic replicas of their beloved pet.
So as you can see here, this is a picture sent to us from one of our customers. And from there, our airbrusher is carefully airbrushing all the little markings on the pet while he's looking at the picture from the customer. So this process takes around 20-30 minutes, depending on the complexity of the pet.
Tan said that the materials for making the pet replicas are the same as the ones used for teddy bears.
One of the things I like to say is that we're not taxidermy, so it removes that ick factor, right? Like, we're not actually using the real skin of the pet. You know, this is actually 100% genuinely a stuffed toy. So basically, it's just the same fabric we use for making teddy bears, but it looks realistic.
Each plushie takes about 2 days to produce, but due to the volume of orders they receive, sometimes hundreds in a month, Tan says it can go up to weeks before a customer receives their plushie. Depending on size and the amount of detail involved, each pet replica costs about 3,500 pesos, which for many clients is a small price to pay for the comfort they receive in return.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or by following us on our social media platforms. And that's all the time we have for tonight's TVS Nightline. Once again, I'm Ahmad Yusuf. Thank you for watching and have a good night ahead.